the Supreme Court?
I'm the president. I'm the king now, like you said, and go home.
Okay. Good to see you're centrist.
All right, folks. Brace yourselves, because what we're about to dive into is truly shocking. Can you believe we're at a point where anyone would actually propose dismantling the Supreme Court? Yes, you heard that correctly. Some radical liberals have taken things to the extreme, calling for the end of the very institution that's supposed to uphold the balance of our democracy. Bill Maher, usually the voice of reason, well, at least sometimes, was left stunned by these audacious ideas. Just think about the ramifications of unchecked power. It's honestly terrifying. But hey, if you're tired of watered-down news and want the real scoop, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, I'll wait. Done? Great. Welcome to the conversation. Let's dive in and see where this wild debate leads. So here's the lowdown. From the latest episode of Real Time with Bill Maher, the discussion took a sharp turn, bringing to light some truly radical liberal viewpoints. The suggestion that President Biden should actually dissolve the Supreme Court.
Only a court in the sense that the court of Louis XVI was a court. I mean, basically, it's a harem, okay? It's a harem. It's Trump's harem. So I always feel sorry for the three real judges on the court. I know a lot of people have jobs, not me, not you. And you have to go to work every day, and there are people you don't like at work. But can you imagine having to go to work every day? Alito? You have to go to work with Alito, with Kavanaugh? I mean, it must be horrible. So what Biden should do, not that you asked, but when they passed that law, the Supreme Court passed that ruling, where they said, you're not the president, you're the king, which is what that ruling is. You can do whatever you want. You can never be, held responsible. I thought, Biden's still the president. No one seems to notice, but Biden should dissolve the Supreme Court.
Dissolve the Supreme Court?
I'm the president. I'm the king now, like you said, and go home.
Okay. Good to see you're centrist.
Just think about the sheer audacity of that idea. It's like someone saying, let's just get rid of the referee because we didn't like the call. And Maher was clearly stunned, and he wasn't alone. Anyone who values stable democratic institutions had to be left reeling. So, let's break this down. Imagine this. Fran, a guest on Bill Maher's show, was going off about a recent Supreme Court decision she didn't agree with. Then, out of nowhere, she proposed a shocking solution. If the court's decisions don't match what we want, why? Not just abolish it entirely. Maher, ever the provocateur, was there to respond, and his reactions throughout the segment said everything. But this wasn't just about one guest's extreme idea. The conversation opened the door to a much larger debate in American politics. Where do we draw the line between holding institutions accountable and outright dismantling them? The Supreme Court isn't just any court. Its role is to uphold the law impartially. And here, certain voices from the liberal side are suggesting it should be axed just because it doesn't align with their views. It's honestly insane. That kind of thinking completely goes against the core values of democracy. Frustration with the judicial system is nothing new. Many people have complaints about how the courts operate, especially when rulings clash with their personal beliefs. And look, it's totally fair to disagree with court decisions. Criticism is one of the things that keeps our democracy healthy. But completely dismantling it just because you're unhappy with a few outcomes? That's crossing the line. Maher made sure to draw a clear contrast between these arguments, emphasizing that in a democracy, checks and balances aren't just optional, they're absolutely necessary. Now, let's talk about the urgency of today's political climate. The chaos unfolding around us, of course, revolves around the high-profile legal battles involving former President Donald Trump. With 5 different trials and mountains of evidence, many expected the judicial system to finally hold him accountable. Yet, here we are, approaching another election cycle, and Trump remains free and actively involved in politics. For some, the inability to rein in Trump through the existing system is feeding their desperation for drastic change, but is tearing down core democratic institutions the right solution? Maher didn't think so. His critique was direct and unflinching. He painted the liberal stance not just as extreme, but downright dangerous. Sure, getting rid of the court might look like a quick fix to some, but what happens to democracy after that? You're left with chaos and an open door to authoritarianism. It's not saving democracy, it's laying the groundwork for its collapse. Maher went even further to discuss the complexities of navigating these power dynamics. Take Kavanaugh, for example, a figure who has become a symbol of the division and controversy surrounding the current Supreme Court. Some view him as problematic, which has sparked intense debates. However, dismissing the process that led to his appointment entirely overlooks the due process that got him there in the first place. Maher emphasized this point, reminding viewers that we can be critical of individuals or institutions without calling for their destruction. Reform, not repeal, should be the way forward. As the conversation unfolded, reactions were all over the map. The audience, believe it or not, cheered for certain points, while others were left in shock. It's hard to believe that in today's political climate, where even a slight tilt toward one ideology can lead to massive political repercussions, such radical ideas could actually gain traction. It leaves us wondering, what would happen if more people began to seriously entertain these kinds of extreme thoughts? Could a new trend be emerging where frustration starts to overshadow reason? When do we set boundaries and declare that our desire for fairness shouldn't overpower the functioning of government institutions? It's a precarious situation that Maher was determined to emphasize. In doing so, Maher didn't merely deliver a point, he issued a crucial warning. By the segment's conclusion, viewers were left reflecting on their personal convictions. Amid our rush to mold the country in our vision, Maher urged caution. His message focused on safeguarding the strength of democratic structures, rather than hastening their collapse.
The president has said he has a zero-tolerance policy for illegal immigration. Excuse me. This president has said he has a zero-tolerance policy for illegal immigration. Yes, as Americans, we feel for anybody that's crossing the border because we know this is the greatest nation on the face of the earth. However, this is a nation of laws. And so I say to those parents and to those children, if you do not want to be separated, do not cross the border illegally. Follow our laws, follow the process. That's the best way to ensure that your family stays together.
And that's where you come into play. What's your take on this issue? Is France's viewpoint a vital, bold approach, or is it a perilous road to take? Share your thoughts in the comments on how you view this delicate balance between change and destruction. We're exploring this topic thoroughly today, and your input is essential in this dialogue.